Hello, do you own an electronic piano or perhaps a keyboard that is strictly a piano, like a Roland RD800, a V piano, or a Yamaha P155 stage piano or equivalent? And would you also like another instrument, like the Roland BK-9, a Yamaha PSR, or the Yamaha Tyros that has orchestral voices and, more importantly, that has auto accompaniment? Well, you don't really have to purchase a whole new instrument. You can save a lot by purchasing a BK-7m and end up with a very competitive MIDI-controlled entertainment-style instrument. For example, I have a Yamaha Clavinova CLP 230 piano. I paid $2,500 for it 12 years ago. It's a wonderful instrument with a very high-quality keyboard. But of course, it is strictly a piano. It contains only a few standard voices, like piano, harpsichord, and organ, and it does not have any auto accompaniment features at all. But I can make best use of my original investment by getting a BK-7m and in the process essentially upgrading my piano such that it will have over 1,000 sounds and 433 accompaniment styles. It can even use imported accompaniment styles. So actually, there's no limit. Connecting a BK to a piano is really easy. All I need to do is connect the BK's power cable, right here, and a MIDI cable from the MIDI out receptacle of the piano to the MIDI in receptacle of the BK, right here. If your piano does not have a MIDI out receptacle, then you cannot connect it to the BK. I also need to connect the audio output of the BK to a sound system. That's these two cables right here. An optional connection is to connect the audio output of the piano to the audio in of the BK. For demonstration purposes, I have already done that, right here. I start by turning my piano on and temporarily turning its volume to minimum. I also turn both the volume and auto in controls of the BK to minimum. I will turn these back up later. I now want to turn the BK on. When I do, it will automatically detect that I have connected an instrument to it via MIDI, and it will present to me a screen asking to confirm my instrument type. To accomplish this instrument type confirmation, I will press the rotary control when prompted to do so. The BK has now entered an automatic configuration program called the Wizard. The screen already says digital piano. That's encouraging. I press the rotary control. I'm now prompted to choose a manufacturer. It says Roland. Since I'm using a Yamaha piano, I rotate the control until the display says Others. I now press the rotary control. I am prompted to play a note on my piano. I'll play middle C. The configuration process is now complete. I'm prompted to push the rotary control again to make this configuration permanent. I will do that. There are, of course, many ways to configure two instruments via MIDI. The Wizard has chosen a very standard one where all notes played on the keyboard are sent to the BK via a single MIDI channel. Don't worry if you don't understand what that means. It's only in special cases that anyone would want their piano and BK configured differently. My first order of business is to confirm whether or not my audio amplifier speaker system is working properly. To do that, I will make the BK play its internal demo, which I do by pressing the menu and exit buttons together, simultaneously. The display shows that the demo is working. I now advance the volume control of the BK for a comfortable listening level. I stop the demo by pressing the exit button. If I now press keys on the piano, I don't hear anything. Don't worry, nothing is wrong. It turns out there are several ways that the BK can respond to my playing depending on which of its features I activate. At this point, the BK is waiting for me to activate one. As an initial example, suppose I wish to play using the internal tones of the BK, but without using any auto accompaniment. In my current situation, I can have immediate access to 4 of the BK's tones using the 4 part buttons on the front panel. If I press the UP1 button, which stands for upper part 1, by default the BK will play a tone called natural piano. Notice how it plays this tone across the entire keyboard. Remember, earlier I turned the volume control of my piano to minimum. Hence, the piano sound that you are hearing is coming from the BK, not from my piano. I could play the internal sound of my piano if I wished. I'll show you that later. I can play each of the BK's parts by selecting their respective buttons. Of course, if I don't like the tones that the BK uses by default, I can change any of them to something more preferable. I have the choice of over 1,000 in various categories, or families as Roland calls them. That was the tone called folk clarinet from the wind category, or family. I can also mix or layer the tones together. That was the folk clarinet layered with the natural piano. Of course, the primary purpose of the BK is not just tones. Indeed, if that was all you wanted, you might be more satisfied with a different product, like maybe the Roland SD50 or Integra 7 sound modules, depending on your budget. Where the BK really excels is in its auto accompaniment. That's the reason why most people buy it. To play the BK's auto accompaniment in a manner similar to most entertainment-style keyboards, like the Roland BK-9, the Yamaha PSR, or Tyros, where the lower half of the keyboard is reserved for specifying chords and the upper half for playing melody, I need to press the split button. To activate the auto accompaniment, I can press the sync start button. Now, by pressing a chord, the auto accompaniment will start automatically. Currently, the BK is playing its default style called Gold Disco. Let me change that to an Italian waltz from the ballroom style family. Because my piano is an older model, I find that the natural piano tone of the BK is superior. Also, the BK offers me a collection of piano sounds, whereas my piano has only two. But if I were using a very high-quality piano, like perhaps a new Roland V piano, or a more recent model of Yamaha Clavinova, I would most probably want to use my own piano's sound. To do that, I need to turn up the volume on my piano, as well as the audio in control on the BK. I can play the internal sound of my piano alone on its own. Or I can play layered with other BK tones. However, if I want to play the internal sounds of my piano with the BK's auto accompaniment, I must mute or turn off the lower half of the keyboard. To do that, I would refer to my piano's user manual. The BK supports all of the advanced features that you find in high-end entertainment-style keyboards. Things like intros, style variations, fill-ins, and endings. It also supports operational conveniences like single-finger chord recognition, as well as hands-off orchestration changes using a foot pedal. The following demonstration is a Level 1 student practice exercise. The BK turns it into a piece that anyone would be proud to play for family and friends.